Welcome to Investing Bros. It is Tuesday, Wednesday the 6th, and I am really, really happy to have you in. What did I just say? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday the 6th. Welcome in to the Investing Bros. We've got some Ethereum news here going on the charts. Let's go ahead and zoom in right there. On the monthly chart, you can see in comparison to the previous all-time high for Ethereum at 4,882. We are right now. We've just put in a new high for 2024 of 3,900 essentially. So zooming in to the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, we'll do that in just a second. But let me just kind of camp out here for a second and show you guys from the highest wick here from this monthly candle on up. You can see we're just 24%, 25% away from all-time highs for Ethereum, and that is actually really, really important, because all-time highs for Ethereum are a big piece of the ingredient for altcoin season to be induced, right? For that altcoin season to happen. And we're going to get to why that is in just a second. On CoinMarketCap, you can see here the all-time high for Ethereum, November 16th, 4,891. Okay, so that's really important number there from CoinMarketCap. That's the all-time high, I believe, according to the Binance exchange. But back over here, this is not Binance, this is Bitstamp, and so the number is going to be slightly different. But let's go ahead and jump on into the daily chart here for one of the most exciting altcoins around right now. I'm going to go ahead and get into the 4-hour. And as you can see, Ethereum yesterday got caught up in the rejection of Bitcoin hitting all-time highs. Yippee. Got caught up in that rejection. Saw a very quick, goodness gracious, a very swift 15% correction before it got bought up. The bull said, thank you very much. I'll take your 3,200 ETH, and pushed it now to all 2024 new highs, clocking in at $3,900 per coin. So this is important for altcoin season to be induced because of this graphic right here. So we're going to be going over it a lot more. But one thing that I'll point out is that Bitcoin liquidations, I don't know if it's an all-time high. I didn't have time to look for another liquidation chart, but if you look at this one, goodness gracious, guys, so long liquidations yesterday, it got up to 892 million. That is just flabbergasting. That is just so crazy. The last time we saw anything close to that, January 2nd, right? But that was only 591 million, right? The point is that what we've been saying on Investing Bros is true. We're heading into extreme volatility. We've been warning of a 30%, 40% pullback. We did not get that yet, right? But we did get a pullback that probably, if you're new to crypto, you haven't seen before. Going to jump over to the Bitcoin charts to illustrate this, okay? So here we can see we got up and actually printed on the lower levels. This probably would have been the 30-minute levels. We closed some candles up above the all-time high for Bitcoin, right? And this is a monumental moment. It's very, very, very awesome, very sweet. But then we pretty much immediately within the next 2 4-hour candlesticks, we saw almost a 15% correction, right? As for a lot of reasons. Miners did a lot of selling, and a lot of folks who have been holding Bitcoin for a while, they went ahead and dumped because it's an all-time high. You buy low, you sell high, okay? Does that mean that Bitcoin's going lower from here and we're going to go test 32? No, I don't think so. I think that we would have to have an event in order to get down to 32, or even really to get down below, honestly, 55. I think we did that analysis yesterday. In order for Bitcoin to get lower than $55,000 again, we would have to have a pretty significant event. I think technically it's in the cards to see 55,000. Once, if we get down to 42,000 for Bitcoin, then I'm starting to be like, I really hope this support holds, right? if I'm bullish. And then, but I'm definitely buying more at 42. And then if it gets down to 32, then I'm like, goodness gracious, what the heck? What is BlackRock doing to us? My impression based on the ETF inflows is that we're not going to see really south of 55. I say that now, and I stand by it. I don't think we'll see south of 55 for Bitcoin again, unless there's an event, unless there's something. It doesn't need to be some big black swan event like the pandemic. It just needs to be an event. There's some things still going on with CZ that could potentially be detrimental, right? There could be bans in some countries attempting to ban Bitcoin, right? There's all kinds of different little fantasies we could spin up to try to predict what would push Bitcoin below 55,000. But ultimately, it has a lot to do with the ETF inflows now. And those inflows don't seem to be stopping. Eric Bulkanis is reporting again today that they're hitting more all-time highs there in the ETF world. So it's not something that I'm really expecting for Bitcoin to get below 55,000. Not something I'm expecting at all, but it's something that I'm prepared for. And how do you prepare for it? Well, I'm going to buy it. Going to have some money sitting on the sideline to go ahead and buy it. We'll go much more in depth into the Bitcoin chart later today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Tim, my TA buddy. And then also after the show today at 3 p.m., we'll be having our Bro Time. We're bringing Bro Time back. And if you are a member of the Investing Bros YouTube channel, you have access to Discord where we'll be having Bro Time. That Bro Time is going to be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, pretty much exactly right after the live stream's over. So strap in. It's going to be a lot of fun. And make sure you're tuning into our Twitter at Investing Bros. There's a link in the description for this video to make sure you get the exact right details. But it will be today after the show. All right, let's go ahead and keep moving here. So we talked about how Ethereum is reaching an all-time high and why that's important. Before we get into the graphic that I want to show you guys, kind of the chart of the flow of money in crypto, I want to go to this Charles Hoskinson tweet because he said something that is a pretty good intro into this segment. Charles Hoskinson said, that moment Doge flips Cardano, it's officially altcoin season, kids. So this is an interesting tweet because you actually can take this at face value, what he's saying here. So you might be like, well, Doge and Cardano, Doge will never flip Cardano. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're there. So we're very close. We're only 2 billion and change, give or take, away from Doge flipping Cardano. Now you might be like, well, how could a meme coin ever flip a utility coin like this? Well, I mean, Sheeb and Dogecoin have both flipped Avalanche and Polkadot and Chainlink. So it's not like this shouldn't be a huge shock to you. If you're new to crypto, this might be like weird to you. I get it. This is basically if you're coming from the stock market, this is basically the equivalent of AMC or GameStop flipping Google, right? In some sense. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the chart because what Charles is asking about is altcoin season. And you probably heard this if you've been in crypto for a couple of weeks. You bought in a couple weeks ago, and now you're listening, and you're like, "What altcoin should I buy? I have some Bitcoin now, and I'm loving it. Bitcoin's great, but what altcoin should I buy to get rich, to make millions?" Well, that shouldn't be your aspiration, but you could you are coming into the crypto market, at a point where you could potentially make a lot of money. So let's talk about how that money is made and how the flows occur. Now, this chart, I will say, was posted by Altcoin Daily. I'm not sure if they originated this chart or what, but this is pretty good. This is a pretty good summation. So you guys can screenshot it. It's on our Discord in the general, or you can go over to Altcoin Daily's Twitter and grab it from there. So this is the path to altcoin season. So phase 1, Bitcoin. Flow of money moves into Bitcoin, causing price surge. So I would say that what we've seen in Bitcoin over the last month would fit this description quite well. Now, some folks need to see more. Some analysts are sitting here saying this is not quite a price surge. I don't fall into that category. This looks like a price surge to me, right? We haven't had a red candlestick since September, folks. So, and before that, we still had a bullish trend going from the lows of the bear market, right? So to me, I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm saying this is a surge. Okay, you throw on a Lux Algo, and we are in the premium zone, right? We have surged up through the equilibrium and up through now the premium zone. Okay, I think that we can go ahead and characterize those as a surge. Okay, so ultimately here, so we have a price surge on Bitcoin. We all agreement on that? Hopefully. If not, that's okay. But I'm going to assume that that is what we can classify as a surge. Okay, so then the money flows where, right? If Bitcoin is surging, prices are high, and people have bought low, what does that mean? People are inclined to sell Bitcoin, okay? Because you buy low, you sell high, and sell into what, you might ask? Well, Ethereum. So phase overlap, this is important. This is really important part, is these overlaps, because this helps give you the context that's not so black and white. Money flows into Ethereum, but it struggles to keep up with Bitcoin. Ethereum goes back and forth with Bitcoin and starts outperforming it. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more complicated of analysis, right? But if we take a look at Bitcoin here, it's just hit all-time high. Okay, Ethereum, while it's pumping like crazy today and outperforming Bitcoin, right? That is an important concept today. Not by a small margin, right? More than double, way more than double here. Ethereum is outperforming, okay? So let's take a look at the chart here. It has not reached its all-time high. We've already looked at this today, but this is important, okay? So going back to the chart here, so Ethereum goes back and forth with Bitcoin and starts outperforming it. So it's meeting the criteria of this first sentence, of this first part of the second sentence, because it is going back and forth. We go down to the lower time frames, the 4 hour, right? We can see that it whipsawed with Bitcoin, okay? And that's not a surprise, right? Altcoins usually will follow the volatility of Bitcoin on any given trading day. So that's not a surprise. Money flows into Ethereum, but it struggles to keep up with Bitcoin. So I would say that's kind of been the characterization of Ethereum up until now. I would say we're starting to see, as of today, Ethereum not just pull away from Bitcoin in terms of day-to-day price movement, right? But it's really starting to rocket forward, 8% for a coin like Ethereum, right? This is not a small coin. This is a very, very large coin. It's almost $500 billion coin, right? This is a big project, right? So for it to move 8% in a day, that's significant, right? So I think that we're getting, this is where we are. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the chase here. This is where we are right now in the crypto cycle, because Ethereum is starting to show signs of outperforming Bitcoin, but it is only really I wouldn't say that's the first data point, but it's one of the first stark data points after Bitcoin's surge has been utterly confirmed by an all-time high. Okay, so that's where we are. I'm under the conviction that we are here. So Charles Hoskinson saying that moment Doge flips Cardano, it's officially altcoin season. It throws a pretty big, because it's true. Well, it's true that Doge is close to flipping Cardano. Now I will point out, it has not happened yet, right? So that is important distinction. So maybe that's how he saves face here. But ultimately, I kind of disagree, right? I think that's where I'm getting with this, is that we're still pretty far from the true altcoin season. That what Charles Hoskinson here is saying, I think is probably more of a joke, more of a meme than it is truth. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think about that analysis? According to this chart, I think Charles Hoskinson is wrong, but I think there's also a chance that he's being more jokey, more memey, and in that sense, it's not whether I disagree or agree. I think he's just making people laugh. He's making me laugh, right? So let's go ahead and jump into the chat, speaking of which, and let's see what's rocking out with the bros. Let's see where the first chat was. Gary, looks like, according to my software, which is almost always wrong. Sorry, let me just go to YouTube, actually. But according to my software, I'll go ahead and give it to him. Gary C. Gary C said, doesn't it mean it's worth $3,900 per coin? It does. It does mean that. Okay, I must have... Anyway, Eric Wallen said, hey, everyone. Ninja Glock said, GM, got some GM bros from Drew P. And all kinds of other chats here. Good morning, T. Shroom from Nancy Croy. And Nancy, also sharing a little bit about her own finances, said, don't own Ethereum. Don't think I ever will. I'll stick with my Bitcoin. Now, that's something to keep in mind, that there's a lot of people who are not interested in owning any altcoins, right? Or they're only interested in buying in Bitcoin, and that's fine, right? I think that that's not a bad move, especially for folks who have hesitations about getting further out on the risk curve. I think that's completely fine. It looks like Blackie Chan was actually the first comment, said it means wicked gas fees, which is strange. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we can determine who today was the first in chat, but it almost doesn't matter. Let's see. Redman said, good morning, everyone. Zachary Martin said, it was nice. Little dip. I'm glad I put in some funds. Very nice. Looks like Zachary Martin caught the dip. Zachary Martin also said, literally never bought a meme coin in my life until yesterday. LOL, he mule, and woke up and it's like more than doubled. So that's pretty good. That's got to feel good, Zach. Glad to see that somebody's making some gains in the meme world. You're certainly not the only one, but there's a lot of people who are also losing in the meme world, as volatility does see an uptick here. So my conviction is here, and I'm not seeing a ton of people agree or disagree. I saw a couple of people say that he is joking. So Drew P said, we're all joking. Let's see. Coinhead said, I was just joking. Let's see. Yeah, so I think ultimately here, Charles Hoskinson, I think he's kind of joking. And also, it's like, I don't think he's like being extremely... He's not someone to really comment on price or markets in general very much. He mostly sticks to the development of Cardano. And, and just kind of like the political class of crypto, right? And trying to help further the cause, almost like a lobbyist for crypto these days. But Charles, with this tweet, definitely has sent me into a bit of a state of perplexity in trying to understand things. And I wanted to just make it clear for the bros what I'm thinking. But so let's journey forward in this chart, because I think that there's a lot to learn here for folks who are just getting started in crypto. They might have never even heard the term alt season. So alt season is going to be where all of the altcoins, believe it or not, are pumping. So Bitcoin is the coin, and all of the coins south of Bitcoin are altcoins. They are alternatives to Bitcoin, the coin, right? So when you're buying an altcoin, you're really speculating on essentially the dot-com bubble 2.0, in my opinion, right? All of these coins down here, with very few exceptions, and I use that definitely lowercase exceptions, are all kind of unproven, for the most part, projects that are attempting to articulate to the market, hey, we have some idea, we have some use case that we think is great, buy our project, and a lot of people agree, and they are, right? With Bitcoin, it's a little different. Bitcoin is, in my opinion, and the opinion of the market, it seems, Bitcoin is the new gold. Bitcoin is a new commodity to buy and sell like you would buy and sell gold, right? To store value, or like real estate, if you're investing in it in that way. Everything else is an altcoin. And when altcoin season is talked about, that's when all of these coins do better than Bitcoin, right? They perform, they have more upside. On a day where Bitcoin's up 2%, they're all up 6, 7, 8, 10, 12%, right? So that's what altcoin season is. And many of you already know that, but for those of you who don't, thank you. Consider subscribing and smashing the like button. Phase 2, Ethereum. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, and we hear talks of the flippening, right? We are not hearing that at all. I am not hearing anybody talking about the flippening. Oh, Ethereum is going to actually be more valuable than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just a store of value, but Ethereum's a store of value, and it's also the Web 2, it's going to Web 3.0, it's going to revolutionize the internet. All of those things could be true, right? But nobody is under any kind of false pretenses that Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin, less some significant damaging event to Bitcoin's value, right? Which I don't anticipate at all. So we are not hearing those rumors yet. The people who would be perpetrating those rumors are not yet motivated to do so. Why? Because of what I just said. We're in this phase. Okay. But Charles Hoskinson is pointing out that it feels like Dogecoin is about to flip Cardano. It feels like we're closer to here. It feels like we're here, where we have, regardless of market cap, some altcoins with strong fundamentals are having pumps. That's not the case quite yet. I mean, you could say, well, the meme season that we're seeing, that's what this is. Not quite. Not quite. We're getting close, but this is still pretty far out, in my opinion. If I had to put a date on it, I would probably say midsummer, right? Mid to late summer of 2024. But it's even possible that it's further out than that. Now, one thing that I'll say about Charles Hoskinson's tweet here is that there's possibly some analysis going on here. And again, I'm reading super far into this. He's not necessarily saying this for sure at all. But one thing that he's potentially commenting on here is the ETFs. So the ETFs have done something really interesting here. The spot Bitcoin ETFs may have kind of portaled Bitcoin forward in the 4-year cycle. Now, that is a very heavy statement. There's a lot to unpack from that type of a statement. But what we can surmise is if that's true, and if we continue to get data points that the ETFs being released before the halving has portaled Bitcoin's price action or in some way modified it or distorted it so that the 4-year cycles are kind of thrown off, are less predictable, are less valid in a modeling of what Bitcoin will do from here, then it kind of begs the question, well, what about this? What about this season? What about this like cycle here, right? Where money flows in and then it flows out and then it flows in, right? What happens to this cycle? Well, that's a big question mark. And I think that what Charles is commenting here actually is pointing to, well, what if? What if everything is kind of flipped on its head and it's all shuffled up? We're seeing an indication of that Dogecoin is flipping Cardano, something that happens usually much later in the cycle, it seems, right? Now, there's a lot you could unpack here. Again, I can just hear folks screaming, well, but Cardano didn't get that bought, right? It got oversold and hasn't gotten bought yet. So, of course, Doge has had easy work of catching up with it. So there is definitely that variable as well. Let's go back to the chat and see. ETH isn't limited like Bitcoin. Correct. The supply is not limited. KYK13. Ekomos brother said, love this little incel fight in here. Okay. Joseph Gunter said, he's done way more than you'll ever do in your entire life. Okay. I think there's some very passionate people, more than likely responding to Eric Wallen's sarcasm. Guys, just relax. Relax. We're making money here. It's all good. 662 Matt said, I bought the tops last cycle, so I'm still waiting. Boom. 662 Matt, thank you so much for saying that. That is the point that I'm trying to make here, guys. With this chart, this really should put in perspective that we're early in the cycle. I'll say it again. We're early in the cycle. Bitcoin, I believe, has proven that it has surged. The price has surged. Could it surge more? Yes. Could it correct 40% and then surge it back up to the levels it's at again? Yes. But I would say that a surge has occurred. A surge has occurred for Bitcoin, which means that we have confirmed that this part of the phase is behind us. But I don't hear this important indicator of phase 2 existing yet, which is that the rumors of Ethereum flipping Bitcoin. We are starting to get the first part of the sentence. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin today, right? But a week from now, is that going to be the case? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. But we certainly are not hearing that second part. Nobody's out here looking at these market caps and saying, oh yeah, Ethereum is going to close in on Bitcoin's market cap of 1.3 trillion when it's not even a trillion itself. Nobody's saying that. And if you're interpreting me bringing up the question as saying that, then you couldn't be any more wrong. But you're in the right place to learn what is right. So you're in the right place. I think we're going to go ahead and just kind of we'll come back to like this section of this chart another episode. But I think honestly, Matt662 said it the best right there. Is like, I bought the tops last cycle, so I'm waiting. Wait. right? That's kind of the conclusion here. Because in reality, the altcoins are going to go higher much more aggressively than Bitcoin is even now when it's their turn. What you'll notice is that like the AVAXs, the Solanas, and the Chainlinks have all kind of slowed down, right? And the meme coins have kind of come in and just created all this noise and all of this distraction. Bitcoin has continued to pump and get up to all-time highs. Now Ethereum is starting to pierce through the noise and also close in on its all-time highs, but it still has what? I think we said 25% till we're up there, right? So that's something to continue to monitor, something to continue to think about, and I do think that 662 Matt's kind of input here is to just wait, right? Is to wait to see what altcoins are going to perform really, really well once we're in this phase. Once Ethereum, the flippening has been proven not to be true. Money starts to trickle into larger caps where we see large buy-ups happening, right? That is going to be Chainlink, Cardano, right? Solana, maybe XRP, Polkadot, maybe Tron, Polygon, Uniswap, Toncoin, maybe Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash kind of has a weird Bitcoin suckerfish narrative. Internet Computer, certainly. Litecoin, maybe, probably. I don't even know about Unisetlio. What the heck even is it? This is like the most mysterious coin to me. Ethereum Classic, maybe. DAI is a stable coin. Aptos, definitely. Filecoin, yes. Cosmos, definitely. Optimism already has all-time high. So where do you put that in the? It just reached an all-time high, I think, this week. So where do you put that in the basket? That's another kind of amphibious coin here, where it's kind of jumped ahead on this flow, and it's already to altcoins putting in all-time high. I think that has a lot more to do with when it was released. It didn't really have an opportunity to put in those really high all-time highs from the previous 2021 cycle. And so you can go on down the list. HBAR, yes. Chronos, probably. Like Injective, like all of these, pretty much like, what did I say? Probably 75% of all the coins that I just kind of scrolled through, those are at some point going to get hit their all-time highs, right? If we take AVAX, for example, that's a lot. It's a big move. I don't know why I'm pulling it up on here. Let's go to the coin market cap. Let's go. Oh, goodness gracious. Happy Tuesday, guys, right? If we go, we can see that AVAX, this is not zoomed out enough. That's the 4 hour. Let's go to the weekly for AVAX here. You can see that it's still very far from its all-time highs. But what just happened with Bitcoin and what's close to happening with Ethereum, right? Ethereum only 25% away from its all-time highs. AVAX still 275% away from its all-time highs. Guys, we are not in altcoin season. We were in altcoin season, you'd be seeing a huge green God candle on the AVAXs of the world, right? On the Solanas of the world. Now, Solana is in a little bit of more of a similar situation to Ethereum, where it's almost caught up, but it's still 100% away from its all-time highs, right? Matic, you take Matic, it's still 180%. So you guys are getting the idea. We're not in altcoin season yet. It's just not, right? But we're getting there. The first phase checkmark has been made, in my opinion. Bitcoin has surged. And now we're in this transitional period, this phase overlap. Money flows into Ethereum. We're seeing that today. Ethereum up 8%, while Bitcoin's only up 2%. But it struggles to keep up with Bitcoin. So that's what we should be observing through the halving, right? Is that Bitcoin is going to pump like crazy. I personally think that in the short term, Bitcoin probably has a little bit more lower level price discovery over the next week and a half. As I think we probably go back to these are historic levels that are coinciding with these old spikes and kind of where they had resistances and different things like that. So I think that probably Bitcoin, not for an event reason, but technically is going to come back down and test some of these lines lower, right? Maybe seeing 58 again. We kind of already wicked down there, and just look how aggressively it got bought up. By who? By the ETF, by institutions, right? Whether they're going to turn around and sell that OTC to BlackRock or whatever it is, they want Bitcoin. They want it bad because they know that it's only a matter of months before these types of prices, $67 per coin, 67,000 per coin is nothing. It's going to be nothing. So they're buying it up. But I think price discovery is that we probably come up and test all-time highs again. So here's a base case, right? So we come up and test these all-time highs again, get rejected, and then what happens? Why wouldn't the bulls buy right here? Well, because they want to ultimately buy as low as they can. So they want to take their orders off the exchange, wait until price gets a little lower, and then at some price, probably down here 58 or higher, honestly, because of what Bitcoin is right now to the market, then it gets bought back up. And then that would be a double confirmation, right, of price discovery is limited to the downside past 60,000, right? And there just really isn't going to go. That's when then you have just maybe a continued move sideways or a piercing through, much more significant piercing through the all-time highs. It comes up, right? After everything it does down here, it comes up, confirms that, and then we're off to the races. At that point in time, then Ethereum is probably almost back to all-time highs, but then Bitcoin just surges again, right? And so that meets the definition of Ethereum struggling to keep up with Bitcoin, okay? And Ethereum goes back and forth with Bitcoin and then starts eventually outperforming it, right? But we're not there yet. We're like here, right? This is where we are. We're not even to sentence 2 of the phase overlap. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. I've got a couple other articles here for you really quickly. Revolt partners with MetaMask to simplify crypto purchases. To purchase new tokens, the fintech customers can use their fiat currency balance held in 18 currencies in their account. Think Euro, USD, Yen, Yuan, Aussie dollar, Peso, with their Visa or MasterCard bank card. That's pretty big. I do believe this is a new innovation. Credit card ramping. By teaming up with Revolt, we're making crypto more approachable and less complicated, Lorenzo Santos, senior product at Consensus, commented. This partnership is really about giving our users what they want. So that's great. This is really, really, really bullish. This is like kind of unlocking more adoption potential and kind of deepening the ecosystem of which consumers can use Bitcoin just in their daily life. So that's really, really good. Now we've got something coming up today. Zero Hedge has been tweeting about it. This is that Fed Chair Jay Powell's testimony to Congress is going to be significant. CNBC is covering it, and their headline is here. Fed Chair Powell testifying to House on Wednesday. What investors are expecting. That is today. Today is not Tuesday, despite how I opened the show with saying it was Tuesday. It's Wednesday. Some of the details here. The question now for the market is to glean any information on what the Fed will be when the Fed will begin employing rate cuts. Can you believe it? We're curious about when the rate cuts are going to come around. He's not going to answer that necessarily, but if there is any change, any nuance, that is what the market wants to see. Now, I think that that's not good. My personal take here is that, of course, we want to know when the rate cuts are coming, and that's what the market's going to probably respond to the most. But I think that Chairman Powell is going to get in there and he's going to light Congress up about their inability to limit their fiscal spending. At least I hope that's what he's going to do. I think that people are going to come for the rate cut talk and they're going to stay for a nice political joust. Because in the back of my mind, there's kind of 2 ways that this goes. Is it Jerome Powell either is just a kind of a bought-in deep state, whatever, just pawn of the establishment, right? And I think that that's probably the case. But I think there's also a case, when I listen to him talk, I think he also kind of sounds like he himself is a true patriot, a true American, right? But he's just kind of in this situation where he's trying to do the best he can. But when he did that 60-minute speech, it was almost like a little bit of a dog whistle, right? To the mainstream media and its viewers, saying, "Hey, like it's the government. The government sucks. Like the U.S. government sucks. We can't stop spending. We're going all this debt. I'm doing the best that I can over here at the Fed, but ultimately, these tools that we have at the Fed are only going to do so much when you have a runaway government that can't stop spending." right? So I think that there's an edge case where Jerome Powell kind of comes into this congressional meeting and just lights them all on fire. And I hope that he does. I hope that he just goes absolutely wild and is like, y'all need to stop spending money on these wars. You need to do a whole bunch of stuff that stops spending. So we'll see. That's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to be tuning in to see if that's what the case is. And it's going to be a lot of fun. If you had a lot of fun watching this, thank you so much for tuning in. I think 662 Matt had the best comment here. He said he's still waiting. He's waiting. And I think that is the right move here. If you don't have any exposure to altcoins, then obviously waiting isn't the move, right? Because they are underbought relative to Bitcoin, okay? Now, for the Nancy Croys out there who don't ever want to buy altcoins, that's completely fine too. If you don't want to get into the complicated world of altcoins, I get it. Put it simply, if you don't have any altcoins, I would consider buying Ethereum, Cardano, Chainlink, AVAX, right? Those are some of the coins that, to me, seem like they're probably going to do pretty well. Now everybody's yelling their favorite altcoin, but what about Solana? Solana's pretty good too, right? There's nothing wrong with Solana. Oh, what about Matic? Matic, great. There's all kinds of coins out there. What about Injective and Caspa? Guys, look, the point is that there's folks out there who only want to buy Bitcoin. They're looking over at the altcoins like, maybe, no. And I'm just trying to say, look, if you're really curious, if you really want to dip your toes in, and you have a Coinbase account, you have a Robinhood or something like this, Ethereum is going to be the next big thing, right? We're getting into the season where the spot Ethereum ETF is going to overthrow the news cycle for crypto. It's all anybody's going to be talking about. We're definitely not there yet because it's not going to be till May 23rd. But there will be flurries of that conversation, and then certainly in the run-up to that decision, it'll be a pretty big news cycle for the Ethereum ETFs. And my guess is that price will be going up to the right. What happens on the event? We'll only know. We will only know during that event. It's going to be crazy. There's some potential for some crazy fireworks, guys. Because just think, if they deny it and they say that they're not going to ever approve it, what that would do to altcoins. Now, I'm not selling based on that thesis. I'm not. So we'll see. It's going to be very important to see what Bloomberg's percentage analysis is, percentage likelihood for the Ethereum spot ETF. I think that's going to be a really big data point. I don't think we've gotten that yet, but Eric Bolkanis did say over at Bloomberg, that they'll be coming out with that rating soon. Not that that's the end-all be-all, but they have access to information and that we don't. We just don't, and we never will. So that's going to be an important rating to come out. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you're trading, keep your stop losses tight. We'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, we're going to have bro time immediately after. So if you want to get in on that, make sure you become a member. You could just hit join right around here on YouTube. Hit join, become a member, connect it to Discord, and we'll be off to the races. We'll see you at around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after the show. But the most important thing, by far, is stay hydrated. Adios, bros.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.